history a little bit. This is flashback and we must never forget this. On this day, exactly 76 years ago, Jammu and Kashmir became an integral part of Bharat. Maharaja Hari Singh signed the instrument of accession for the same. This irked Pakistan a lot as they were trying to occupy Kashmir by force. This day still pricks Pakistan even after 76 years down the line, and that's the reason they have released at this point in time a nefarious toolkit which CNN News 18 has accessed exclusively here on your channel. Pak authorities have issued a 21-page toolkit, and I have that with me. It's here. This 21-page toolkit to defame Bharat. The toolkit is dated the 9th of October 2023, approved by Muhammad Arsalan Aqil Khan, who's been labeled as director. It's there at the bottom of the page. It's in the footnote. 23 issues have been mentioned in this toolkit with a few punchlines on every issue. The toolkit majorly focuses on atrocities against minorities, pushes Pakistan's K2 propaganda. Bharat has been blamed for the death of Khalistan leaders. It spreads false information on uranium being traded freely in Bharat. And it doesn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. There is a slew of events that have actually been planned by the Pak embassy in South Korea. Seminars, webinars to observe solidarity with Kashmiris, articles, videos for Korean media on Kashmir Black Day, as they are calling it, with posters, banners which are scheduled to be put up on the streets in South Korea, letters, emails to be sent to politicians, think tanks, etc. for support. And this 23-page toolkit with 23 issues also says how you can tag and what are the punchlines they are saying that you can use. But here's a reminder. Here's a reminder of what happened after Pakistan decided to take Kashmir by force in 1947. They committed treachery not just with the Baloch, but they committed the most brutal of atrocities. In fact, the details of what happened in 1947, what Hamas has committed, it just rings true. And the horrors, ladies and gentlemen. Kashmir's 1947 nightmare, which nobody has been able to forget. Over 20,000 rapes, murders, 200 plus villages with Kashmiri Pandit majority targeted, loot, arson, with the will to spread fear among thousands who were forced out of Mirpur, Rajouri, Poonch and other areas. 3 nights of rape, brutality, revelry at a theatre in Baramulla, where Sikhs, Christians, Hindus, women, children were plundered, brutalized. And this is all chronicled, not just by historians here in Bharat, but one of the Faujis of Pakistan who orchestrated with all of this. And he has written this in the book called Raiders. It's all clearly documented what they did. Let us not forget. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, former DG Infantry with us, Lalit Ambatar, Kashmiri activist with us, Aparajita Sarangi, MP and spokesperson of the BJP, stays on with us. Namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very, very much. General Sanjay Kulkarni, they are up to it again. Mischief. How should we counter it?
Anand, there is no denying the fact that Pakistan will continue to play mischief, and this was quite evident. And even before the independence, I'm saying before the independence of 15th of August, because when Jinnah was staying in 10 Aurangzeb Lane, that was the time when all of this had started off. And just not that, even subsequently later, when they planned it on the 22nd of October 1947, after having the Pakistanis having signed the standstill agreement with the Maharaja. Imagine why the date 22nd, because they were wanting Jinnah to come and celebrate Eid in the Srinagar Valley, which was on that particular year on the 25th of October. And what was the tribals and those complete lot of raiders being promised? Loot and women. Just loot and women. They were clearly told by then he called himself as General Tariq, a person by the name of Colonel Akbar Khan, who later was imprisoned for wanting to assassinate the Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan. Imagine a man of that kind being told to do, and with what? With modern weapons that these raiders came along, and not one or two, almost 5,000 of them, and how many women, and the rapes and loot of over 30,000 women. But It was that's what led it to Baramulla, just about 50 kilometers away from Srinagar. And because of the Uri bridge being blown, they were at Baramulla. They were hoping that they would, even if they had walked, they would have been able to do it. 22nd of October, they would do it. 24th of October, it is the Maharaja who requests the government of India, can they come and help? The government of India was quite clear. Sign the instrument of accession, we will be with you. Otherwise, you can sign with whatever you wish to do. He signs it on the 26th of October, and probably they never realized that India could mobilize troops in such a short time that they were able to land in Srinagar. You see, it's already snowing. Mind you, it has already started snowing, and this is the time when the first Paramveer Chakra for saving the Srinagar airfield to Major Somnath Sharma is on the 3rd of November 1947. And the way Colonel Rice first Sikh when they landed there on the 27th of October, and the action that took place at Baramulla, and thereafter you can see the way we were pushing. Anand, what is surprising the whole thing is the Supreme Commander is Auchinleck. And at both ends, the Chief of Army Staff and the Commanding Chiefs are from the British. You mean to say the Britons didn't know what was happening? Everybody knew what was happening. Everybody, the Britons were already with them. And what they did at Gilgit, what they did at Poonch is well documented and everybody knows.
My point is, sir, my point, General Sanjay Kulkarni, is, and the question to Aparajita Sarangi is, if the Pakistanis and the ISI and their machinery can create a 23-page toolkit, why can't we send out a documentary which reminds them of the brutality that the Pakistanis and their treacherous groups committed in the garb of raiders? They were actually soldiers of the army who were there. Why isn't this entire story being told to embassies and nations across the world every 25th of 26th of October? Why aren't we taking the propaganda to them and giving it to them and hammering them down?
We are a very strong nation today, and we can indulge in the policy of tit for tat. There's no denying that. But at the same time, I must say that we are trying to promote development in the region from where we have actually, said goodbye to Article 370 and Article 35A. So I think restoration of peace and normalcy in the area and promotion of development are our topmost priorities. Pakistan will be celebrating 27th October as the Black Day, right? Today. Now the Indian Army has issued a statement which I would definitely like to read out before all of you. To commemorate the Infantry Day and mark the landing of Indian Army troops in Srinagar on 27th October 1947, the Directorate General of Infantry is organizing Veer Gatha Samaroh at Karyappa Parade Ground, Delhi Cant on 27th October 23 with a light and sound show. Saviors of Kashmir is the name of the light and sound show. This statement has been issued by Indian Army. Now, since 5th August 2020, the day, as I said, through a decision in the Parliament, we bid goodbye to these two articles of the Constitution. I'm very proud to say that we have brought in very positive changes in Jammu and Kashmir. And through you, I would like everybody who is listening to us to acknowledge that.
No, Aparajita ji, it's not about the changes that have been
gone up.
Nobody is taking away the credit from the current government. Soon after 2019, the abrogation of Article 370, which was thought to be a pipe dream, it happened. 35A was gone. My question is about beating down the propaganda and exposing those brutes like they should be. The fact of the matter is, ma'am, what happened between the 22nd of October till the 26th of October or the 27th of October is not documented and is not highlighted to the world. How has that brutality till date gone unpunished? How can a Pakistan stand at the UN with any face after the way it treated the Kashmiri people and also the Baloch? We've never highlighted the issue of Kashmiris. In fact, we have spoken more about Balochistan than we have actually spoken about what they did with the Kashmiri people in those days, in those dark days. It was black days, and now it is perhaps the day of sunshine, the accession day. I'm just saying this entire game of narrative spinning, which Pakistan has done to the world, why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we exposing them on that platform? They are an irrelevant nation today. But the treachery that they committed, the brutality that they meted out, even Kashmiris have forgotten. current generation.
No, I entirely agree with you. I entirely agree with you. In fact, the conflict, the violence and the terrorist activities in Kashmir that took place because of Pakistan and because of their indulgence in these kinds of, warfare and these kinds of activities, I think should be documented. This is a good suggestion.
Lalit Ambardar, Raiders republished back in 2020, and Akbar Khan has documented with pride what they did with the people of Kashmir. And they singled out bigoted, xenophobic. All non-Muslims were targeted. Christians, Sikhs, Hindus. And even Muslims who stood up to them. Even those who stood up to them and Muslims who stood up to them, they were also butchered.
Today is a historical day. Maharaja Dhiraj Hari Singh, who was made out to be a villain, actually was allowed to sign the Instrument of Accession Day, which he had been seeking, asking for it. But the Nehru Congress in Delhi was forcing him to include Sheikh Abdullah into the cabinet. Then only Nehru and Congress would agree to for the Instrument of Accession to be signed. That's why it took so much of time. And by the time we did it, by the time our army arrived in Srinagar, 27th October, we suffered genocide. Let me tell you, till Baramulla, even now, the Pakistan, the so-called Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, not a single, I repeat, not a single Hindu Sikh was left alive. Not a single Hindu or Sikh was left alive. There were scores of women who committed suicide. Girls were kidnapped and they were sold in Peshawar for a few hundred rupees per woman. And then and by the way, today also I need to remember Brigadier Rajendra Singh, who was from the Maharaja's army. I repeat it because there has been tendency, there has been an attempt to make villain out of Maharaja Hari Singh, who wanted in Princess Crown Court in London. He said, I'm Indian first. And that's what we have to correct the history. Number two, we are very poor in initiating a narrative. We only react. And I tell you, I want to tell ma'am also, what we lack is narrative building. Pakistan had only two Kashmir centers earlier in Europe. One was in London, one was in Brussels. Now they have in every embassy and every high commission of Pakistan has an Indian center, has a Kashmir center. And the propaganda they are going to, this is why they say whenever they talk about Palestine, they are talking about Kashmir. Please don't forget it. We have India-based Islamists talking about Palestine, talking about Hamas, but we never talk about Kashmir or Kashmir has suffered. Even now, you talk about Hamas. The people who are standing was Hamas, and they say, the rapists, the murderers, the kidnappers are being eulogized in India. While in Kashmir, Anand, I want to tell you that if 1947 it was Pakistan's Kashmir Jihad 1, now what we suffered in 90s was Kashmir Jihad 2. Let me tell you, a Kashmiri Hindu woman, mother and daughter duo, they were raped and shot in the vagina. Can you imagine this? What is the narrative? Not a single perpetrator of genocide of Kashmiri Hindus, that is rape, murder, mass murder, has still now been tried even.
Not just that nation has got away. That nation has got away. That nation has got away with its brutality.
But what is the narrative? We are not even saying what a Kashmir Jihad is alive, it's kicking.
And that nation has got away with such brutality.
We have almost given a carte blanche to Pakistan and FATA. Because we say everything is okay in Kashmir. Don't forget, we have a very tight security grid employed in Kashmir, and which cannot be sustained forever. And wherever they find a breach, they attack us. Rajouri, we found it in Kashmir. We found it in Bataduria. We found it whenever they find an opportunity, they kill a Kashmiri Hindu. So narrative is very important. Narrative building is very important. We are very poor in that. Please remember that sacrifice is there's not a single district in India from where probably we don't have, it has not contributed a Jawan or an officer to Kashmir Jihad. We don't talk about it. Narendra Modi himself said it. We should commemorate 14th of August as a day of horrors. Where is the narrative? He's not going to speak on the
certain dates, unless they are a constant reminder, they will be forgotten. General Sanjay Kulkarni, is that another attempt to try and ignore it altogether so that no matter how much the propaganda, it's just brushed aside because it's not made a big deal?
And then sometimes there is, this double talk, deceitful conduct from within the valley also is a real thing which we really need to be worried about. Now, 22nd of October is celebrated as Black Day in India for exactly what the Pakistanis have done, and the entire raiders were under the leadership of the Pak army. There is no denying the fact. Imagine till the abrogation of Article 370 and what has happened subsequently, the Jammu and Kashmir government is celebrating 13th of July as a Martyrs' Day. 13th of July 1931. Can you imagine the thing which has occurred in 31 of 13th of July, they're celebrating as Martyrs' Day and declaring it as a holiday? Can you imagine that?
And what was the Martyrs' Day? He was demonizing, defaming Dogras of Jammu. And it happened right under the watch of Indian secular constitution, secular parliament, 13th of July.
It is terrible. Anand, it's terrible. Something which these people must, these double talk, deceitful conduct, whatever. I appreciate Sheikh Abdullah's stand at that point of time that yes, he stood, and Jinnah knew fully well that his national conference, which was earlier a Muslim conference, wouldn't stand with Muslim League and whatever that we saw, Jinnah's visit. What, at least, but subsequently, look at the conduct from 1953 till 1961. He's jailed for what? For treason. For the kind of thing that he had done is not acceptable. And subsequently also, the way the talks have carried on from the valley of the politicians is nothing that we ought to be proud of.
Sir, I'm going to separate the politics.
Thank God for the abrogation of Article 370.
See,
Thank God for this. Otherwise,
that has settled the politics aspect, the softer aspect, the reality aspect, the truth aspect, and the narrative aspect. Final comment, Aparajita Sarangi. Don't you think much more needs to be done on that front? We can keep exposing these toolkits, but the truth cannot be part of a toolkit. The truth has to be told, and it has to be told again and again till the time it's never forgotten.
See, restoration of normalcy and taking large number of developmental works have been our top priorities. People have to see to believe. People have to feel the difference, and that's what the government of Prime Minister Modi, with all sensitivity, is trying very hard since the abrogation of Article 370 and Article 35A. In fact, I have a whole list of achievements to the credit of this government pertaining to Jammu and Kashmir. If there would have been time, I would definitely have kind of read out all those. But we must accept that tourism has increased. The boosting of tourism infrastructure has taken place. In 2022, there were 18.8 million tourists in Jammu and Kashmir. And in 2022, there were 18.8 million, which is quite a number. And now we are aiming at about 20 million tourists this year. Because things are improving. There is peace and normalcy.
The simple question, ma'am.
In 2018, there were 9,229 projects completed.
I have these numbers, Aparajita ji.
In 2023, there have been 92,560 projects completed. So
Aparajita ji, we have these numbers. But what Mr. Lalit Ambardar has raised is that this security grid that is currently clamped down, it cannot be a permanent feature. Secondly, Jammu and Kashmir will never be permanently under central administration. The moment things you let go of this grip, have you got the narrative in your control to ensure that it doesn't go back to where it was? That's the biggest concern, ma'am, because the narrative is still being controlled elsewhere. The narrative has not been changed, and that's where we are repeatedly saying it's not about the action taken on ground. It's the action taken in the mind space, in between the years. And that's where we are perhaps more reactive than proactive. That's where the concern is. Yes, Lalit Ambardar, final 1 minute. I have to wind up. Yes.
Yes, I just want to say there seems to be a total lack of understanding of what jihad is all about. Ma'am, I follow Kashmir, I follow jihad conference everywhere in the world. Jihads cannot be eliminated till there are internal reforms within Islam, which I see Prince Salman, I see a hope in him. Till then, you can only contain it. That's what you are doing here. In Afghanistan, Russians were there for 10 years, they fought against jihadis. Then afterwards, Americans fought there for 20 years. We built dams there. We built parliament in Kabul. And where, you know what they are doing now? They are passing Sharia law. How many lashes has to be put on the woman if her ankle is visible? So please, jihad cannot be contained by development and tourism.
The idea is those who are trying to control the narrative.
That has to be
the narrative, yeah. Not just that, it's controlling the mind space and it's controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
And have we been able to do enough? We leave you with that thought. We have exposed the toolkit. Let's hope that enough is done to counter such toolkits. And those who then use the same punchlines and who use the same information from these 23 pages, well, we've got the information and they will all stand exposed if they dip into this or borrow from this, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a very, very short break. We thank all our guests. Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, we turn the spotlight towards the Israel-Hamas conflict into day number 20. Joe Biden hints the India-Middle East economic corridor, India-Middle East-Europe economic corridor could be one of the reasons why Hamas was pressed into action. We tell you more. Stay with us.
Hello, Moto.